And we welcome you into episode 7. I want to say 7. Episode 7, yes, of the Holly Reed Sports Podcast. And let me just tell you guys, high school basketball season is officially back, even though we got football still going on for the next few weeks with the semis and the Super 6 coming up next week. But other than that, high school hoops is here, and I am joined by the Dominion Post Prep Hoops reporter himself, Mr. Michael Griffith. Michael, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well, man. Thanks for asking me to come on. I really appreciate it, man. It's always good to see you, dude.
Always good to see you as well, Mr. Mike. And let me tell you something, this is going to be a very special year, especially for the Martin County teams. First things first, starting off with the defending Class Quad A state champion Morgantown Mohegans, as they won the last 3 state Quad A championships, 2 over Parkersburg South, and then beat Spring Mills in a very heavily defensive, a very low scoring game, 35-32 off of the Sharon Young three-pointer, which he is now at the University of Akron. But I know Coach Tomlin very well. I mean, he's one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the state of West Virginia, alongside with Martinsburg's Dave Rogers. I've seen it before with all the players that he has. I mean, he's called it a rebuild year after the season was over, but I think it's more of a reload year because he has guys waiting in line on the bench from last season to move up to the varsity level. I've seen it year in and year out with Morgantown. I mean, we saw it with Jay Shrewsbury and Izzy Everett while they were waiting on the bench, waiting for their turn and their state champions. We waited for it with Brooks Gage and Alec Poland and Carson Poffenberger. They moved up from the bench to the starting lineup. They won. Well, Carson probably didn't. But everybody else won that state championship with them and Brooks and Alec. And now we're seeing it now with university transfer DeMarcus Bandy, Waylon Clister, as I mentioned before on my Twitter page, going to be a big name to look at in the 2026 class. And there's so much more key pieces of this Morgantown team. So I want to ask you about Morgantown High School. How are they going to look post Ron Young?
You did say reload, but really, like, they have a lot of pieces from last season as well that played a big role. Max Fry also, only a sophomore. You know, he's a bigger body that can guard your best player, night in and night out, but he can also score. He can step out. He can take you to the rack. He can do a lot of different things. You mentioned Waylon Callistra. I mean, he's been mentioned by a lot of people as far as summer basketball. You know, he was getting a lot of attention on the AAU schedule, and tall. I mean, can just jump out of the gym. I think he's probably dunking with relative ease now. So he's going to be a problem. Another thing that might help Morgantown this year, and I'm waiting to get 100% confirmation on it, but their quarterback, Maddox Twig, who obviously is a really good athlete on the football field, and he's one of the top quarterbacks in his class right now, he may play basketball for them, and I think that might be a big deal. I'm not saying that he'll start for them. I'm not saying that he'll even, be a difference maker as far as getting to the state championship, that level, but he's a big kid. He's 6'2", he's 190, and if he can at least lock somebody up, I mean, he could guard your best player night in and night out. Like I said, Max Fry also could. So I think that will also help them out. Dave Tallman, I mean, if he's the coach on the other team, it doesn't matter who the players are. You might have to pick him. That's just how he is. He's gonna have his team ready to go. That's no question. They're gonna play a really tough schedule. I mean, play all the good teams. They'll play all the teams they'll see in Charleston if they manage to get there. It's hard to pick against the Mohegans until someone gives you a reason to, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, going up against them before, whenever I was at University High School, I mean, whenever I was there, it was probably like the best team we've had ever, with Kaden Matheny and KJ McClurg, and obviously with the guys that I've had in my senior class. I mean, even at our best seasons yet, Morgantown was still able to put up a fight with us, and that just showed how great of a coach Tomlin is and what a great team that the Mohegans have year in and year out, because they have guys that can compete. And like I said before, I've had Spring Mills is definitely the number one team to look at in Quad A, but please, for the love of God, people, do not sleep on Morgantown High School this year. They have a reloaded class, as he mentioned before, as we mentioned before earlier. That Morgantown has been in 4 state tournaments and state championships, and they won 3 of the last 4.
Mm-hmm.
And that one loss when Sharon was a freshman, they lost off of a buzzer beater. And so, yeah, I'm saying
Yeah,
don't sleep on Morgantown this year, man.
we didn't even mention DeMarcus Bandy transferring from university, and he'll be playing for Morgantown now. And DeMarcus, he missed out on his junior year for the Hawks
Hmm.
because of his knee injury. But he looks healthier than ever. I mean, he looks like he's recovered really well, which is great news for anybody of the sport, right? He's going to be fun to watch. It's unfortunate we didn't get to see him last year on the Hawks team because they were a talented group. They had some players, and he could have helped them out, but he's over at Morgantown now, and he won't fill the entire role that Sharon played, right? But he can step in to that 2 guard spot and help out Marty Johnson in the backcourt, right? And he'll definitely have an impact for the Mohegans coming off. He has all state caliber if he can go for them for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then also, as I mentioned, Marty Johnson, he played a pretty big role last year off the bench as well. And obviously, Morgantown has a pretty good bench from what I have in my notes here. Obviously, they got Camden Kellogg, a really big 3-point shooter,
Mm-hmm.
played on the JV team last year, and obviously the son of Mark Kellogg, the women's coach at West Virginia University. And then they got Marcus Goings, Jalen and Seth Goings' little bro,
Mm-hmm.
balling now. You got Alex Himes, who didn't really play too much last year because I know he was dealing with an arm injury.
Yeah.
Jalen Dusenberry, another good JV player, Jaden Smalls, and then
Yeah.
Colin Way, young kid too. So, yeah, I mean, Morgantown has some guys. They have a lot of depth this year. I don't think this is probably the most depth that I see on this Morgantown team in a while. So,
Yeah, they're going to be good in the future too. And Blaze Callister, Waylon's little brother, is also coming
mhm.
up. He's already upwards of 6 feet. I mean, he's going to be good for them. And Max Fry leading that class will be really good in the future. So the Mohegans, they'll be good for years to come for sure.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And moving forward with Morgantown, obviously the on paper the favorite, Spring Mills. They have most of their players coming back from last year. Obviously, State Player Evans Award finalist this year. Let's just go ahead and say he is kind of like the State Player of the Year finalist, Caleb Thomas, who has offers from mainly D2 schools, Cal UPA, UVA Wise, and obviously Fairmont State, which I've seen that he is actually going to be taking a visit there this weekend
Hmm.
whenever the Fighting Falcons play Charleston, whenever former Mountaineer James Long comes to Fairmont. So that'll be a good game to watch as well. But besides that,
Yeah.
um, Caleb Thomas, Akwesi Opoku Champong, and I've already seen Akwesi play. Like, other than Caleb Thomas, he's the other best player on that team. Really good
Yeah.
sharpshooter, really great defender. Like, I've seen it throughout the summer as well. I mean, he plays excruciating, painful defense on the perimeter. And of course, they got Lokayuth Smith, very athletic guard. Tyler Jones, who came off the bench last year, playing some good minutes.
Hmm.
Obviously, can't forget the Anderson brothers,
Yeah.
Max and Zay Anderson, with Xavier Anderson actually having like a lot of offers from football, offers from Liberty, and he also has that big offer from Cincinnati that he got recently.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just incredible, just athletes, right? I mean, they are a generational group of athletes that are coming through Spring Mills. I know Spring Mills is only 10 years old as far as the high school being a thing, but
Hmm.
I mean, this is just a generational group. And after the way that they dropped the state championship last year, you do not want to see them this season. I mean, they only had one loss last year, but it didn't come to a team in West Virginia, right? They lost to a team out of Frederick, maybe in Maryland.
Yeah, it was Frederick
Yeah,
High School.
a pretty good team too, out of Frederick, and it was a close game on the road. And then I know that they beat Morgantown, and that was Morgantown's first loss in the state for 2 years.
Hmm.
So you got to beat the best to be the best, right? So it's gonna be fun to watch Spring Mills this year. They're well coached. Luke Samples is just one of the greatest coaches you'll find as far as on the court and off the court. Great personality. He's such a funny guy, and he loves his players. They love him back. And I'm a big guy on as far as basketball. Like, a coach really reflects a coach's players really reflect their coach on the court, right? You can kind
Hmm.
of see a coach through their players, and I see that in Spring Mills. They really feed off of their head coach, and they exude his energy. He's a very high energy coach. You'll see him over
Yeah.
there running up and down the sidelines, just getting into the game like you want a coach to do, and they do the same thing on the court. His players are, excited, and I'm not saying they're cocky or anything like that. They do it the right
Right.
way. And Caleb Thomas, maybe we'll look for a little more out of that this season from him because he's a silent assassin. He goes out there and he
Right.
doesn't talk, he doesn't do anything. He just puts the ball in the bucket. So yeah, they'll be fun to watch. I'm glad that they're coming to Morgantown this year so that I actually get to watch that game, and it's not all the way out in Spring Mills, so that'll be really fun. But yeah, the Cardinals are going to be right there at the top every single week this season for sure.
Oh yeah, and I agree as well. And I know they got a couple of I know they got one transfer as well. I forgot to mention Martinsburg one of the top players from Martinsburg last season, Mr. Chase Shipley, has
Okay.
transferred over to Spring Mills as well. And that's just going to add fuel to the fire again for Spring Mills
Yeah.
once again. And it's like you said, they're most likely going to be AP #1 every week. And I mean, yeah, it's going to be tough competing against them this year. And also, speaking of high energy coaches, Mike Fallon, Parkersburg South, they have a good team this year too. They were young last year.
Mm-hmm.
I was really thinking that they were going to make it out of their region, actually make it to states again this year after playing the last two state title games against Morgantown. But unfortunately, they lost. I think they lost to Huntington. They lost to Huntington in their regional championship. It was very tough. I mean, Region 4 is, in my opinion, is the toughest region in
Yeah.
4A because not only got Huntington, Spring Valley, and Parkersburg South, but you also have Hurricane and Cabell Midland on the rise. They're good teams as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Parkersburg South, they have a lot of players coming back. They got Harry Silvis, who already has a Division I offer from Radford. They have Navi Hewitt that should be fully healthy, ready to go. An unknown to some, but Mr. Taj Joyce, got to see him play a little over the summer. Really athletic kid, plays football for Park South as well. Sorry, Parkersburg South. I know people from Parkersburg don't like me saying Park South, so apologize. I want to apologize for that. But they also got Connor McMullen, Matthew Mullen, starter from last year, Mason Nutter. Heard a lot of good stuff about Drew Blau. Coach's kid, Cam Fallon. We've already seen his son, Seth Fallon, play at a high level before, and Caden Marshall as well. So Parkersburg South, I think they're going to be pretty loaded and probably one of the other best teams coming out of the OVAC.
Yeah, and you talked about the Region 4. I mean, it's loaded. Huntington was an incredible team last year. I mean, they had Mikey Johnson and a slew of athletes on that roster. Tavion Wilson. Huntington should be pretty decent again this year too. So you're right. You got a team like South Charleston. They're bringing back Roman Kellum, Deshaun Williams. They'll both be back for South Charleston, I think. So they'll be really good once again. GW is also up there. They're always decent. So you're right. I mean, the Charleston network. It's in a really good spot right now as far as basketball. Obviously there's always been talent down there, but you can't really just handpick one team down there to throw at this, who's going to be in the state tournament. That's a really great spot to be in as far as high school hoops, I think, especially with the four classes and all the different teams right now that make the tournament. So yeah, anywhere really, there's any region in the state right now could produce a state champion, which really I think is what makes it so exciting going into the season.
Oh, right, absolutely. And let's see, I got. Oh, and like you mentioned, like the Charleston area before. I mean, even though George Washington had all those transfers last year that were seniors, they're gone. But Noah Lewis, a kid that I haven't really talked about recently, but he's already getting looked at by Division I teams, including Liberty, as he's talked to me before. He's supposed to go on a visit there. And Charleston Catholic, as we saw earlier, Max Wilcox took an unofficial visit with Coach DeVries, and Coach Frazier got to see the pictures there, and he's even getting looked at to be a part of Mountaineer Nation next year, maybe. But But it's pretty awesome all the talent that we have in this, and especially in the Charleston area. You're right. And since I know you're from that Charleston area, so I know you look into it a lot. So, but yeah, like you said, big talent, a lot of good talent everywhere there.
Yeah, I played for Carl Clark at Capital back in 2007, 2011. So that was really fun. We played a lot of good teams. Huntington and Woodrow, and back in the day, there were a lot of good athletes. I played with some good players at Capital too, for sure. So, but yeah, so continuing with the Mon County, I think we'll go ahead and talk about your school. You played for the University Hawks, right? They're gonna be a decent team this year, I think. Got a good transfer in Chase Adams from Trinity Christian,
Sir.
all state in Double A last year, with some state tournament experience against Charleston Catholic in the quarterfinals. The thing about the Hawks, man, I think that they're going to benefit from a deep roster this year. They're going to be young. They only have 3 seniors in Chase Adams, who I just mentioned. They got Zachary Demidovich, who's going to be all-state caliber, I think. He's a big body, plays well. He has good feet. He makes good decisions. I think he'll be good for them. And they also got a baseball transfer in Lucas Neer. I'm not 100% sure about his basketball talent, but, for him to be on the team, I definitely think that he'll be able to contribute. But then they have a slew of underclassmen, man. They have 6 sophomores on the team, and that includes, KK Lewis, Luke Byer, Jagger Barnes, a lot of football guys that are coming off the season, right? So I think they'll do well. They'll play really good team basketball, in my opinion. And if Chase Adams can step out and knock down some shots, I think that'll give UHS a chance in pretty much any game. I mean, they'll play good defense, and as long as they can rebound and limit their turnovers and stay healthy, I mean, I think that, they'll be able to make some noise. Glenn Brown's a really good junior. He can handle the ball a little bit. And if Chase Adams can really be that, like, true point guard, he had to kind of do that at Trinity last year, which helped him coming into this year. If he can really be that one point guard and, allow some of those other guys, KK Lewis and Glenn Brown, like I just said, move off the ball and get open, I think that the Hawks have a good chance to make some noise. And, with some of their region losing some players as far as, like, I know Bridgeport will be good, but, like Aiden Davis is out of Wheeling Park now. Some of those teams, I think that the Hawks have maybe a chance to make a little run and maybe go to Charleston this year.
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, this university team, I mean, it's kind of a state tournament or bust year. I mean, because Bridgeport, who obviously you had to deal with for the last few years, they're now in AAA this season, and now with Wheeling Park, you have the top 2 players from last year gone to the portals. It's Aiden Davis now at Steubenville, and I'm not sure what school Amari Johnson went to, but he went to some football academy.
He's out in Florida, yeah. He's in
Florida.
Now
in Orlando. I do know that. I just don't know what the school name is called.
But that's a good point you make, because now, university section is only going to be UHS, Preston, and Buchanan now. So you got to think. I mean, Preston will have an okay team, but you got to think UHS will come out of that section, and then, like you said, as long as they can win, as long as they don't really see Morgantown. Obviously, you don't want to see Morgantown in the regionals, but if you can get a more winnable game in the regionals for UHS, then you definitely think they could win that and go to Charleston this year for sure. And they have one of the better head coaches in the state too. I mean, you can't. It's hard to pick against Joe Schmidl. He's won a state tournament. He's had multiple teams that have been the best teams all year round in the past, and he knows ball. So, like, you can't pick against Joe Schmidl either. It's tough.
That's right. And like you mentioned, the football guys, KK Lewis and Glenn Brown, really athletic guys. Zach Demidovich being an all-state caliber player this year, I could definitely see that. And then also a little tidbit for those of you guys that didn't know, Caden Matheny, as you guys know, all-time leading scorer at University High School, state champion 2019. His little brother, Trayson Matheny, will be playing JV basketball for UHS this year. So a little tidbit there for all you guys out there listening, and guys that want to keep up with everybody else there playing Division I hoops in the Mountain State. So he'll be playing JV basketball. I'll get to look at. I don't know if we'll see any varsity action from him, but definitely really interested to see him play in a UHS uniform. I can't believe the years already go by so fast. But
Right.
anyway, as summing up the rest of Quad A here, I did have as we already mentioned, South Charleston and Huntington, but we also got Woodrow Wilson. They got another D1 player, Zion Hawthorne. Didn't talk about his older brother, as I mentioned before. We brought him on the podcast, Braden Hawthorne, who plays for Huntington Prep and going to be playing for the Mountaineers next season. We got Kobe Dillon, top sharpshooter, one of the best sharpshooters in West Virginia. Preston Clary, Jalen Walton, and Lucas Rainey. I mean, Woodrow Wilson looks good. Hedgesville, and Martinsburg, the other top teams coming out of the Eastern Panhandle, since they got Xavier Kirk and Philip Barber transfer. TD Botkins is playing down there this year too, so something to look after. And Martinsburg, even though they do lose Chase Shipley, they do have Kashawn Cheek, Anthony Awuna back, and Kyrie Bunny once he gets done with football. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a very loaded class Quad A this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be really fun come playoff postseason time and even the regular season. There's some of these teams have scheduled each other and they have tournaments and the Parmar Shootout and all these other things coming up that we're gonna get to see some really good basketball coming up really soon.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And then moving on with Class AAA, as I've mentioned, Bridgeport. On paper, people have been talking to me saying that Bridgeport is their favorite to win. But don't sleep on Shady Spring this year either. Even they're, obviously don't bet on bet over Coates Olson, because Ronnie Olson, man, he's one of the best of the best of the best. He's got some players returning from last year's state title team, including Jalen Bailey, Jack Williams, his little brother to Tommy Williams, who's at Fairmont State. Kai Olson, coach's kid, Brady Johnston, Brody Radford, Bryce Radford's younger brother, and they got two transfers from Greater Beckley Christian and Gabe Short and Eli Sexton. So Shady Spring could be going back to back this year. Might see a Shady Spring team, but with Fairmont Senior losing Zykeas Dobbs, it is going to be a little bit it's going to be tough for them, without with losing Zykeas, but they're still going to be in the mix as well. They got a kid from France. I got to see him play for West Virginia Reign, the AAU circuit. Maximilian McGinnis, Jules Butlers, and Daryl Claybrook will be back as well, as Trey Cumberledge.
Yeah.
So yeah, Class AAA. It looks, even though Shady Spring, they got a couple other favorite teams. I mean, AAA, honestly, to me, kind of looks wide open.
Yeah, I would also mention Nitro in there too. I think they had a pair of first team All Staters last year that are going to be returning, in Ashton Crouch and Ty Stevens. Both, I mean, like I said, both on the first team All State in AAA, which was also loaded last year with East Fairmont and Fairmont Senior and all the other teams. So I would look at Nitro too. I think as long as they stay healthy, I think they can make some noise as well and get back to the state tournament and maybe win a few games.
Oh yeah, and I did want to mention that earlier because I did have it right here. Ty Stevens, Caleb, young guy, Caleb Thomas, Derek Lowe, Timmy Lovejoy, Landon Pontisowski. I mean, you're right. I mean, Nitro is kind of a sleeper team. I mean, that's pretty much all their players from last season back. So, and they made it all the way to semis last year. So they're a pretty good team to look at, obviously, and they could be a potential favorite. And then, as we mentioned, Bridgeport, since they got bumped down from Quad A to AAA this year, they have Phoenix Sickles coming back from last year, Anderson McDougal, Landon Sanders, Jack Spatafor, Anthony Spatafor's younger brother, and they also add Buchanan Upster transfer Carter Zuliani, who has multiple Division I offers in football. And then Gavin Williams, I think, another kid to look after. He's the kicker for Bridgeport. I got to see him play, and he's had a heck of a summer, so I think that's a player to watch out for the Indians.
Yeah. AAA will be fun to watch as well. It's refreshing to know how deep these classes are really going to be in boys hoops this year. It's going to be a really a dogfight as far as when it gets to the final few weeks for sure.
Yes, sir. And then moving on to Class Double A, we got Wheeling Central Catholic and Williamstown. Those are my top two favorites that I think are going to move on in Class Double A this year. We've talked about Caleb Thomas and we talked about Noah Lewis, but in my opinion, Eli Sankum, the junior, I think he's 6'4", 6'5". Someone told me he was 6'5". Someone in his family said he was 6'5". Um, They're saying that I think he could be a contender for state player of the year. I mean, he's that talented. I've seen him play. I got to see him play about less than a month ago, I think, at the Elite Showcases that was hosted by my good friend Taylor Kennedy. Um, Eli Sankum, he was going off. I mean, he looked like he wasn't even trying in that Elite Showcase. He was obviously the MVP of that event. Um, Obviously, came back from injury. Didn't play his freshman year because I think he had ACL tear. And then sophomore season, got to see him play at Trinity Christian, and he just exploded. Almost had like a double of that game. Finished almost 30 points. So I call him Baby Luka Doncic just because he's like so offensively gifted. And
Yeah.
obviously, he's a coach. He's a coach's son since his father, Danny Sankum, is the head coach at Cal UPA. So Wheeling Central looks to be really good this year, along with Max Oliash, Troy Anthony, Tyler Dean. As little brother Luke Sankum, a little 5'7" kid, but he could still shoot the lights out from deep. It is incredible the way that kid could shoot. So
Mm.
Wheeling Central is, in my opinion, a favorite to win, but also don't sleep on Williamstown this year because they also got a pair of sharpshooters as well, and Parker Schramm and Jaden Bryant, and along with the magician, Mr. Cruz Isley himself. So those are the two teams that I have in Class AA. It's going to be very competitive whenever these two teams meet here in February.
Yeah, I was impressed by Eli Sancombe last year at the state tournament, especially knowing that he missed a lot of time coming off of that injury, and then he returned to really play a big role for them in the state tournament. I know it didn't work out exactly how they wanted, but it was they played well, they played hard, and the one thing that I think that Eli does well, and that bodes well for his game is that he knows what he's good at and he knows what he's not good at, right? And he knows his spots and he knows his where he wants to score. Like that's the one thing that I think stood out to me with him in high school basketball, because a lot of players in high school basketball, especially like when you're at the higher level in your state or in your competition, like they try to maybe do too much or like try to do something that they aren't particularly made to do, right? But Eli, like, he knows what he can do and what he's good at and what's going to make him his money, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what really impressed me with him is he let the game come to him really easily, and he didn't try to go out and make it happen too much. And I think that this year, with them losing, I forget his name, and their really talented guard last year. I know I should know his name, but
Quinn Berlinski.
yes, Berlinski. Yes, he was incredible, fun to watch. So, I think Eli will hopefully have the ball in his hands a little more, and I think that'll bode well for Wheeling Central for sure. And you mentioned Williamstown. I mean, these guys feel like they're like Perry Ellis in Kansas, right? They've been playing in Williamstown
Right.
forever, you know. But dude, they've been in 3 state tournaments the last 3 years, and they are another team that is just incredibly hungry. Um, um, as far as wanting to get back, because they were upset last year, right? They lost in the, I don't even know if it was an upset exactly, but they fell in the quarterfinals, and no one expected them to really lose that game. So I think that Williamstown will be really hungry, and they'll be another team to watch out for. And you're right, it's really a toss up between those two teams. I feel like in Double A.
Yes, sir. And then obviously, I've already mentioned Charleston Catholic with Max Wilcox getting that unofficial visit to WVU. Zayden Ranson, a big kid. Wilkes Aliff, who had to come in for Max Wilcox during the year because he was dealing with an injury. And then a freshman. I mean, I don't really, like, you already mentioned one freshman from Morgantown, but another freshman from Charleston is McCaden Hale. A lot of people have been telling me that he was playing varsity basketball for Charleston Catholic Middle School.
Okay.
Someone I got to see in Morgantown a few weeks ago. I think he's going to be a kid to look out for too. I mean, he's on the little side, but he's only a freshman. I think we'll get to see more out of him this year. And then
Well,
Wyoming East. Wyoming East is a pretty good team too. I forgot to mention them because
yeah,
they actually beat Williamstown at the Parmar last year. I got to see that, and it looks like they have a kid called Connor Fox. I remember that he was a big kid, 6'6",
yeah,
only a sophomore too. They got Braxton Morgan, top sharpshooter from him back. They do lose Cole Lambert, who's now at Concord University, but it looks like Wyoming East has some guys back in the team this year. So, I mean, Double A looks good too. I mean, it looks. I wouldn't say it's too wide open, but it kind of looks like it's kind of like it's still very competitive. It's still going to be a very competitive year in Class Double A once again,
yeah.
because it
Well,
usually is.
you always have Bluefield and Chapmanville right there, ready to win some games too, and you can't count those programs out at all because I mean Chapmanville was the title winners 2 years ago, right? And then Bluefield last year was in the title game, so
Hmm.
you can't count them out either. So, and then going back to Charleston Catholic, I mean, they're also coached by Hunter Moles, and he's hard to pick against on paper sometimes too. So it's gonna be another class that once we get into the final weeks and we get into the postseason and get to the state tournament in Charleston, like it's gonna be hard to really pick one team and put them into the number one spot. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. And is Trinity? What about Trinity Christian this year? I do know they did lose. Obviously, we mentioned Chase Adams. That's at university. Carter Hartsock graduated, and then you have um, the coach who is I forget where he went, where he's at
So he
now.
actually, yeah, Cody Horton, he was their AD and their
Hmm.
coach. He got a job in Arizona, actually being an athletic director somewhere in Arizona. And he's having a great time out there and doing really well. So yeah, they'll benefit. One thing that the Trinity Christian Warriors will benefit from this season is they are dropping to single A. So they are actually going to be a single A team this year, which will help. Of course, as far as competition wise, you'll be playing. The teams you'll be playing like the Valleys and the Madonnas and Payton Cities, and you won't be playing Willing Central twice a year and be
Right.
playing Williamstown twice a year and Catholic. So they'll benefit from that. But they did lose Chase Adams, they did lose Carter Hartsock, both all state caliber players. They will have, I will say, Austin Porta. He's a junior. He can play. He can play. He's pretty good. But other than that, a lot of their players are new. It'll be a little feeling out period. They have their new head coach, Mitch Bland. He is coming over from Morgantown Christian Academy, so he definitely has some head coaching experience, and it'll take a little bit, I think, for them to work it out. But moving down to single A will help them as far as that process of feeling it out, and I think mid-season, if they can stay healthy and find out what's going on, they'll be fine. They don't have a senior on their team. I mean, take this year and learn, win some games with that first year head coach, and then I mean, you come back next year, you're going to have five seniors, and they have five freshmen right now. So like next year, get a good year this year, get some wins, learn your offense, learn your team, and I mean next year, who knows what the ceiling could be. So Trinity will be one to watch for, and then the other team in single A, I'll go ahead and just continue. Is Clay Battelle, the CBs that I have, that I cover also. They'll be a good team in my opinion. I think that they have an outside shot to make Charleston. It'll be tough in single A because single A has so many schools in it. I mean, I think the region that Clay Battelle and Trinity are in has 11 teams total,
Hmm.
which only two of those are going to make it to Charleston. So, that's you look at Quad A. Some regions only have six teams, so it's a lot tougher for a single A team in a region to make the team to the state tournament because you got to go through so many other teams. But Clay Battelle, they bring back an all-state caliber, a first-team all-state caliber player in Preston Luzader, who I think could also maybe have some Player of the Year consideration this year, depending on how his year goes and how the CBs can play. But they also have some really good, talented guards who I love watching. They have Josiah Morgan and Cooper Payton. Josiah is a senior who played really good for them last year. He was a football player this year too. Good athlete. He can step out and shoot the three, but he can also drive the ball. He can finish. He's got a good defensive motor as well. And he played a lot of minutes for them last year. I think that'll bode well this year for them. Cooper Payton, he's only a junior. He played a lot of minutes as a sophomore last year. and he played a lot of minutes against some tough teams. They played Cameron, they played Madonna last year, so I think that'll be good for the CBs too. The thing about Preston is, he can stretch the floor a little bit. Preston's more of a stretch big than a traditional like Kobe Barr was in the past for them, where
Right.
Kobe could just punish you from 6 feet in. He wasn't gonna miss the shot. So, but Preston can step out. He can shoot the three if you don't get up on him, if you don't put a hand up. And with those guards being athletic and being able to handle the ball, I think that'll help Preston a lot. I think CB's they're well coached. Josh Kisner's a great coach. He had him in the state tournament 2 years ago when they had all those seniors on their roster. And Preston was there. He played. He was a starter on that team too as a sophomore. So he's a walking double double. I expect him to possibly average 20 and 10 this year for the CBs, possibly depending on if he can stay healthy but other than that, I think the CBs have a good chance to make some noise and be in the top 10 of the polls pretty much all year if they want to.
Oh yes, sir. I agree. I mean, the Clay Patel CBs. I usually never sleep on the CBs, and I never will because, they're always a really good program every year. And you've mentioned Lusaders most. I mean, first team All State caliber in Class Single A for sure. And as you mentioned before, you said Region 1 had like 11 teams. I do see it here. It says they're with Cameron, Madonna, Magnolia, Payne City, and obviously Magnolia. I forgot to mention Dave Tomlin's dad. Dave
Yeah,
Tomlin's senior coaches there at Magnolia. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough challenge for them to try to get around all those teams in single A. But they still have a good chance. Like you mentioned, they do have a
yeah,
good chance to make some noise. And obviously the goal chart, the going to states is the goal, and I think that that could possibly happen for them.
yeah.
And as you mentioned, Press Luzader, really good ball player. I mean, he's getting looked at by Waynesburg University.
hmm
So yeah, I mean, it's
Another
all
name,
not possible.
another name I didn't mention, and Corey Cohen. He's only a sophomore, but he played football for them. They had some injuries in football, and he was a really tough runner on the football field. Really good athlete. So I think he could come off the bench and make some noise for. But this is another team. They only have three seniors. I mean, they're going to bring back, you know, 90% of their team next year. This will be another good team to watch for in the future, and watch to see what steps they make this season as far as their success. So
Sir, and let's see. I'm trying to go with the rest of the Class Single A field. I only have a couple of teams here in Class A. The defending Class A state champs, the Tug Valley Panthers. They bring a lot of players back from last year's team. They do lose their top big man and Buddy Markham, but they do have Braden Ferris coming back. Caden Hale, their top 3-point shooter, is back. Ashton Davis is back. Bryson Eli, who had that game-winning steal to seal the win for him in that win over Tucker County. And they have Carson Newsom that came off the bench last year. He's probably going to have to start for him this season. Tug Valley looks like the clear favorite again this year, but I'm not sleeping on Tucker County either. I got to see them play last season whenever they played at Trinity. They have Trevin Bonner is back. They have Garrett Wolfong, who's very athletic 6'6" wing. Caden Normal, I got to watch him play over at the AAU circuit with West Virginia Reign in the big shots circuit there. Mikey Mitchell is another kid who mainly played most of these guys from Tucker County. I mean, they're trying to replace all those seniors that they lost, like Maddox Anderson, Ashton Litkleider, Noah Knotts. They have a lot of JV guys coming back. They're going to have to move up to that varsity level. But they went undefeated last year, so I'm not sleeping on Tucker County. The Mountain Lions are still going to be as good as they used to be from last season. But also, I'm keeping in mind Greater Beckley Christian also has some good players too. They got Woodrow Wilson transfer, Drew Fitzwater, who had a very big off season. They had Keegan Davison, who I got to see play, is a really good sharpshooter. Averick Woodson, Javante Spencer, and Zay Kincaid. And lastly, as I have here on my notes here, Huntington St. Joseph Central is going to be good this year too. Although they do lose Grady Painter from last year, as he's now at Cabell Midland, but they still have Micah Aram. I know his brother Caden Aram used to play at St. Joe's last year, not last year, a few years ago. They also have Isaiah Sanders and Nymir Bryant as well. So single A looks to be competitive again as what it was. I mean, last year we knew. Feel like last year we kind of knew uh, who was going to be in the championship, but I feel like this year, I mean, it could be any of those teams.
Yeah, and I will say about single A, the individual talent in the single A classes, I feel like is not surprising, but it's like it kind of catches you off guard a little bit as far as seeing like, okay, you're got these single A schools, and a lot of these players are football guys, and a lot of these players play all other sports, but man, these teams have some guys that can really go. I love watching Tucker County play basketball. I mean, how can you not? They are just they don't look like a single A team. I mean, they look like a quad A team. They're out there playing, they're out there hooping. You know what I mean? Like, and you mentioned Garrett Wilfong. I got to see him at Trinity as well. Also saw him in Charleston, and this guy can just jump out of the gym. He can run. I mean, he's probably got 4.5 40 speed. And then you mentioned Trayvon Bonner. I mean, he plays point guard like you're supposed to play point guard, right? I mean, he um, can handle the ball. He can move off the ball. He can take you to the hole. He can step out. He can hit free throws. Like, he can pass. He can do everything. So yeah, you're right. I mean, and I'm happy that Greater Beckley Christian is going to have that another contending team again too. They're a good program that not long ago were at the state tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 years ago. And I think they pulled an upset over like a 2 seed or something like that year. So
They did. It was
yeah,
against Man.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, that'll be good to have Greater Beckley Christian in the mix again and single A. I mean, it's just every single class in West Virginia boys basketball this year is open. I mean, anybody can win it. There's not one team that you can just put down on paper and say, this is the one. So it's gonna be fun. It's close. We're only days away at this point, right? So a week away or so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to get out and get into some gyms and hear the squeak of the shoes and all that good stuff that comes with high school basketball. So.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And lastly, here, as we get set for the season to begin, I'm going to be heading to a scrimmage game tonight. As from what I've heard from one of the players, they told me that their Morgantown High School is going to be playing host to Bridgeport at 6 p.m. tonight, while the University High Hawks will be hosting the Fairmont Senior Polar Bears also at 6 p.m. I'm going to try to see if I can go to both of those, but it's going to be tough. But I do have Morgantown at Bridgeport on my schedule here, so I'll be going to that and seeing what this new Mohegans roster is going to look like this year. And as we mentioned before, I mean, we're not going to sleep on them. We know how good Morgantown is. We know how good of a coach Dave Tallman is. I mean, Dave Tallman, in my opinion, I think he's a college coach. I mean, but he chose to stay in Morgantown. He said it before in the interview after the state championship win last year. He's like, he's surrounded by good people around him. And, he even said himself he has the best job in the city of Morgantown, and that includes the college job, the coaching job. So he loves Morgantown. Morgantown loves him. And I know it's going to be a big year for him. And I'm going to be watching Morgantown play against Lindsley. They're playing against De'Ari Goodwin, who has already signed to play at San Diego, playing the West Coast Conference next season, playing there. So it's going to be a tough challenge for them playing against him, along with a lot of those international guys that Lindsley has every year. And then obviously you mentioned we're going to watch a few Parkersburg South games, playing Parkersburg, and then they're playing Spring Mills, host of Spring Mills on the 20th. And I've already mentioned on my Twitter, you can go to my Twitter page of the top games I'm going to this year. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. Michael, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on how the season is going to go down. And I obviously can't wait to see you down there in Morgantown for a few games, because I'm going to be there a lot. So
yeah, I think I'll see you on the 14th for that Lindsley game. I should be heading to the Rowdy Center for that, maybe. So we'll see. I definitely love seeing you around, and I just want to say, man, you're the man. Keep doing what you're doing. No one cares about this stuff more than you do, high school basketball, right? So just keep doing what you're doing, dude. And I love you, and you know that I'm always a fan. So appreciate you, dude.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Mr. Michael. Thank you. And as always, look forward to seeing you out throughout the rest of the season. And like I said before, I'll be giving you the news and notes updates from every single game that I'm going to be going to this year. As I mentioned before, I got my microphone now, so I'm going to be doing like post-game interviews. We're doing highlights, all that stuff that we haven't seen on ORS before, but we're going to do it this year. It's going to be a very exciting season, probably one of the most competitive seasons I've ever been a part of, and just can't wait for it to get started. But for those of you guys who are listening, thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys make sure to guys go follow Michael Griffith at Griff on Twitter and Instagram, and he'll give you guys updates on all the Morgantown teams this season. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll see y'all next week.